Happy Friday, you guys. All right. Let me just get started now. Today is Friday, May 27th. I know I haven't done one of these actual lives minus, an interviewee in a while. I used to do these every day. And then I slowed down a bit. Now it's down to like 1 a week with an interview. Anyway, I felt like I did miss this spot this week. This has been a brutal week. And let me just start off by saying yesterday was insane. It was just insane. This whole week has been insane. If you're like me, you've been watching MSNBC. Some of you probably still watching CNN, which I can't stand CNN, but whatever. It's there. So yesterday I had been watching all day, the reports, parents crying, tearful, teary-eyed parents, kids talking about the horror that they experienced, telling reporters. I don't know how these kids hold it together. Kids are, I think, a lot more resilient than adults are. These kids pick themselves up and just, I don't know. They seem so well composed on TV while they're being interviewed. Anyway, yesterday I saw a lot of people, crying and talking about what they had experienced, or, that they lost their daughter, and they're showing these pictures, and good Lord, every single one of them breaks your heart. Because, when they say goodbye to them in the morning, they expected to see them after school. And that's the part that really hits home, especially if you have school-aged children. Which leads me to my day yesterday. So, so my daughter, Tiny Pops, she's 13. She'll be 14 in August. She's grown, but to me, she's still Tiny Pops. And I've had to tell her numerous times, when you get out of school, immediately turn your ringer on. And if I'm trying to reach you, I need you to reply. Why? Because you guys, we know that there are horrible people in this world who will snatch up a girl in a heartbeat. And forget about 13. They'll snatch up a girl at 16, at 17. Or a boy. They'll do that too, but it's more common with girls. So yesterday, I texted her as soon. I know when she gets out of school, so I texted her and I said, do you need me to pick you up? Because she's in walking distance from school, but I need to know, do you need me to pick you up? And she's like, no, I'm going to walk home. She walks home with her friends. I'm like, okay, fine. So half hour went by. A half hour is really like my limit before my dad radar turns on. And so then, text, hey, where are you? My first text. My next text is, answer your phone. And now I'm calling. When I'm calling you, I'm heated. My ears are hot, red hot. It doesn't take very long. I am a worrier, a bit worrying. And she didn't answer. Now 20 minutes has gone by and I'm texting and I'm calling and nothing. Meanwhile, I spent the whole day watching these horror stories about how their little girl is gone, their little boy is gone, and she's not answering her phone. And so wifey calls her friend, right? Calls her friend's mother and says, hey, are you able to reach your daughter? Because the two of them were supposed to be together. The girl's mother has a tracer on her daughter's phone and says, yeah, the phone was at the school. So I hop into the vehicle and I drive over there. And I pulled over. The way I pulled over, you would have thought I was a cop. You know how cops don't even, the cops don't park their car. They just kind of like stop wherever the hell they stop. That's what I did. Immediately, I called her by her name. That's how. Then I really realized, like, damn, that's why parents do that. They want you to know how deep of shit you are in. I call it 99% of the time. I call her Tiny Pops. When I'm mad, I call her by her name. She's like, "Who?" And it's like, "Where's your friend?" She got her friend, and I started to dress her down right there, right? When I looked around, and she has got other friends there too, and I don't want that to be the story. Like, oh shit, you should have seen her dad. Her dad went off. I don't want that to be the story, but I could barely contain my anger. So I'm yelling now in the car, yelling at both her and her friend. Don't you ever do that. I'm spending the whole day watching these horror stories about people who don't get to see their kids anymore. Just pick up the goddamn phone and tell me where you are if you're not coming straight home. That is it. That's all I'm asking. Anyway, long story short, she is fine. She is safe. But, it's things like what happened in Uvalde, or before that Sandy Hook, or so many different shootings. It is unreal. It's insane. There's no reason that there should be this. Is the only so-called civilized country on earth where there's nothing we can do. Absolutely nothing. Kids are being gunned down in school, and you mean to tell me you cannot do a goddamn thing about that? That is a shame. That is a crime. And on the one side that's the problem, when you try to confront them, like the other day, there were these reporters from Sky News who had kind of cornered Ted Cruz and asked him, why is America the only country where this is a problem? And Ted had no answer for it. He had no answer. He tried to, he tried to filibuster, and they kept going back to the question, why is this the only country? And he said, you know what? I can't have this conversation with your political motives. And it had nothing to do. These are just reporters just asking, why is America the only country where this is an issue? Can't answer that question. This should be the only question right now reporters are hammering Republicans with. For crying out loud, you guys owe us, media. You fucking owe us. You spent in a year and a half bludgeoning Hillary Clinton with email bullshit. You spent the other part of that year and a half propping up Donald Trump and, giving him all this unearned media time. You fucking owe us. You owe us right now. And how can you repay that debt? Is follow these Republican assholes wherever they are. Follow them. Ask them the goddamn question that there is no answer to. expose their hypocrisy. You can do that without appearing partisan. You can do that right now when it's extremely relevant. This, they like to complain, oh, you're making this political. You're goddamn right. It is political. What does anybody need an assault weapon for? A weapon that, because the gun owners, they say, oh, I like my gun for hunting. What kind of deer are you hunting with 100 and something rounds per minute? You need that many, are you hunting deer that are the other day, President Biden said something about deer wearing Kevlar. And people tried to criticize him like he was cracking a joke. He was dead serious. He was dead serious. If you're going to use hunting as a rationale for why you need these weapons of war, what kind of game are you hunting? Background checks. What's wrong with expanding the background checks? There's absolutely nothing wrong. Who are you hurting? 90% of Americans are in favor of this. 90%. You can't get Americans to agree on 90% of anything. You can't. But this issue, background checks? Yeah, sure. Expand them. Make sure that people can't, use that loophole, that gun show loophole. Why is an 18-year-old able to acquire a death weapon, a weapon that kills hundreds of people per minute? Why? 18-year-olds, come on, some of them are fine. But, we're still, when I was an 18-year-old, my hormones were all over the place. You do not need to give someone whose body is still changing, whose hormones and whose, they're still not completely stable. You don't need to give them access to these extremely dangerous weapons. And then they want to raise the argument, well, why are they allowed to go to war? I don't know. I think it's too young. Raise that age. You're sending 18-year-olds off to get their asses killed. The average 18-year-old who goes to war is cannon fodder. They're just using his body to catch bullets. Raise the age. Make it 21. Let the kid go and get laid first before offering his or her own body up for, cannon fodder. There's so many common sense arguments that the Republicans will not even engage in good faith. They won't do it. You throw something up there that makes a complete common sense and then go somewhere else. Why are you bringing my religion into? Nobody brought your religion into this, bro. We're talking about this. It's the Second Amendment guarantees. You know what the Second Amendment says? It says that the right to bear arms regulated by a well-regulated militia shall not be infringed upon. A well-regulated militia. They love to ignore those words. They just like to cherry pick the words that sound Gucci to them. It's a well-regulated militia. Well-regulated militia does not mean one lone psycho who's pissed off because people are calling him names or whatever, or he can't get laid. They try to blame this on mental health. There's a lot of people who have mental health issues who don't go and murder entire classrooms full of innocent children. There's plenty of people who suffer from that. BDD, did you see that terrorist mom said he had his reasons? know. See, you know, if I see something, I'm going to react to it like right away. I had no idea. I did not see that. He had his reasons. What the fuck? I assume that whoever it is, that if that terrorist mom said that, she's probably now looking for somewhere new to live, because holy shit. And she also said, don't judge him. We're all judging him, and we're all judging her too. Good. Yeah, nobody knows what creates mass murderers. You know, it's scary because you often hear people talk about them after they have either taken their own life or the cops have put an end to their miserable lives, and you hear the neighbors say, he was such a good boy, he was quiet, nobody saw this coming, this was such a shocker. So it's scary because what causes that? Nobody knows. Nobody at all knows. Plain Gretzky says we need to treat Republicans like ISIS, and I don't know what that is. Shirinko. I'm assuming that is another terrorist organization. Are there many mass women shooters in this country? The Trump Reaper wants to know. I don't think there are any. Come to think of it, I don't think there are any. I'm going back. I think Aurora, that was a male shooter. Orlando, Parkland, all of those male, and mostly male white. In some rare instances, they were not white, but yeah, it's weird. I think the first mass shooter was that guy on the LIRR. I remember that. He was not white. That was a brother. The Long Island Railroad shooter. And I believe that's where we got the phrase going postal. That's when people started talking about, when someone went postal, they flipped. That's because that Long Island Railroad guy flipped his lid, but he was black. There was also that guy from Washington, D.C. There was the D.C. shooter. There was two of them. One was like a 30-something-year-old guy, and one was a kid, like 18 years old. They were black. But the vast majority of these shooters are white males. And it boggles the mind why the Republicans spent so much time and energy forcing President Obama to say the words radical Islamic terrorism, but they won't acknowledge the white elephant in their own room. They won't acknowledge the fact that white supremacist terror is a thing. It's killed since the year 2001, white supremacist terror has killed more Americans in the country, I should add, because somebody in a previous tweet said, oh yeah, well what about Iraq and Afghanistan and Yeah, more Americans in America than ISIS, Al-Qaeda, or any other Middle Eastern Muslim Islamic terror group. White supremacist terror. Republicans should be forced to say that shit. The same way they dragged Obama. Why won't he say the words radical Islamic terror? I remember that shit. I remember it as if it were yesterday. Why? Because I'm Muslim, right? So I always have taken that shit personally. Since I was a kid growing up, Islamic terror was always a thing. Anytime there was in the news a terrorist attack occurred, and I'm like, oh man, please don't let it be Ahmed or something. Muhammad I'm like, oh man, it was always that, But now Now when you hear a terrorist attack, it's more likely to be a Chad. Or what was this guy? This guy was not white. This guy was Latino. Latino? Yeah. Ramos, I believe was his name. It's so weird. The past 3 days, they've been talking about this attack. Very few people are even focused on him. They're focused on how this happened, what the police did. Oh, that's another terrible thing. The police, oh my God, they waited an hour to go into that classroom. I would have lost my shit. I would have lost my shit if I'm standing outside and waiting for these guys to charge in. Do your fucking job. My kid is in there. And if you're not going to go, let me go in there. And they sat out there. I would have lost my shit. Oh, shit. That's me. I am just putting out a new tweet. Hang on. This is live, you guys. This is live. I'm going to say, why didn't the cops rush into the school in Uvalde? Why didn't they? By now, we've all seen those videos where the parents are outside imploring, begging these cops to make a move and go in and save their little boy and save their little girl. What the hell are they doing? The first press conference, the guy was talking about how they were waiting for some other armed forces. They were waiting for equipment, more body armor and shit. Those kids didn't have body armor. Guys, you have guns. You have guns. You have training. Go in there. Save our kids. That's what you are being paid to do. You signed up to be a police officer knowing that part of your job is to protect and serve. Protect is the first word in that thing. And protect sometimes means you have to sacrifice your own life for a room full of kids. That's what you got to do. So waiting for equipment, that shit doesn't hold water. And they know that. And the guy who got up there today for the Uvalde Police Department, he admitted as much. He said, yeah, that was an error. That was an error in judgment. That was a wrong decision. And those other cops, how are you standing around while you can hear the gunfire? What irritated me about that press conference was at the very beginning, that guy who said it was a wrong decision, he also said that a teacher had propped the door open and left it open. If that's true, that is a tragic error. I don't think that propped open door would have stopped the dude, though. Let's say that door was locked. He'd have found a way to get in. He would. It took cops long enough to get there. He would have gotten in there still. But don't blame the teacher. Don't blame the teacher. And you know what? At some point, yeah, the cops are liable for not having gone in there. But they're human too. So they're concerned like, shit, I got kids too. I don't want to die today. Right? But if you're looking for somewhere to rest the blame on Republicans. It's that simple. They've had all these years to put an end to this. This should have been finished after Columbine. after Columbine, that should have changed everything. Two guys walk into a school with long black trench coats and just start shooting up the place? That should have changed everything. It didn't. For crying out loud, Sandy Hook, those little babies. That didn't move the needle? You had the President of the United States standing up there, wiping tears away from his eyes. That didn't move the needle. The fuck? A majority of Americans in favor of expanded background checks. You know, we used to have an assault weapons ban, and it expired back in the 90s, and they never renewed it. And why didn't they renew it? Because they didn't have the numbers at the time. They didn't have the numbers. And so here we are. Here we stand. Several months away. It's almost June. So let's say June, July, August, September, October, November. 6 months. We have 6 months to rally our own forces to get an unprecedented number of young folks registered to vote. There's a lot of people turning 18 this year, and 18 is the voting age, right? You can hold a gun, and you can also fill out a ballot. They have to raise that number to. They have to raise that gun age to 21. Come on, so many common sense things. But the only way we're going to get anything done is we need to be able to sidestep Manchin and cinema, period. That is the only way. It is the only way. We need those 2 more votes. Plus, we also need to keep our house, our edge in the House. The House, left and right, is passing bills. You guys notice that? Behind Nancy Pelosi, the House is constantly passing those bills. The House is beyond blame. Sure, you get plenty of Republicans voting against shit, but Nancy has the votes. She gets those votes. But once she gets the votes and passes it into the Senate, that's where it goes to die. So we need to be able to kill the filibuster. And that means not just 2, it means minimum 3 more Democratic senators. Defend the seats that we have and add 1, 2, 3 more Democratic senators. I would count Pennsylvania, Florida, Val Demings, and I'd like to say Ohio with Tim Ryan, but I'm going to guess we have a better shot with Wisconsin, whoever it is that ends up going against Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson is probably the most vulnerable Republican senator right now. So we stand a very good shot at whoever we end up with in the primary, whoever wins that Democratic primary against Ron Johnson, that should be the 3rd senator. And that's it. That's it. If we can end the filibuster, there's so many things I can think about passing. Voting rights. If we pass voting rights, that's a game changer. It's a game changer. Then we don't have to worry so much about all these stupid tricks that the GOP is playing. They're playing tricks with the state legislatures and the secretaries of state, the people who end up counting the votes. Oh, we need to keep an eye on that too. The people that end up counting the votes could potentially flip the election to whomever. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say, you guys. This has been a very, very stressful week. And despite that, I am still hopeful. I'm still hopeful. We're going into. Oh, here's a question here from Thomas the Handsome. Hold on a second. Did somebody get that door? It's always something. This is live, you guys. Is education partially to blame for the size of the MAGA world? I would say yes, wholeheartedly. Yeah, not even just partially to blame. Mostly, Thomas the Handsome. Thomas the Handsome, why don't you have a picture in your AVI to show us how handsome you are? But yeah, if they were better educated, they would see how horrendous that party is. They blatantly disregard facts. BDD, you should see the people protesting the NRA here in Houston. I saw a few videos earlier today. I wonder if the crowd has grown. It did look like a decent sized crowd. I'm guessing it's grown bigger. That's good. That's excellent. Oh, look at this. Aries Wanderer has 2 children aged 18 and 21, newly registered voters. I would like to assume that your 2 registered voters are going to vote Democrat, right? I'm assuming that. I think overall, the youngins, they have some sense, I think. Oh, shit. Trump Reaper wants to know is C-SPAN going to live stream the NRA bullshit? I sure as hell hope not. I don't think that... you know what? They probably will. Somebody's going to end up live streaming that. Why? Because Trump is expected to speak at the NRA. Oh, good. Aries Wanderer says that is correct. Her children are going to vote Democrat. Very good. Yeah, they're probably going to broadcast the NRA convention because Trump is expected to speak. Ted Cruz. They really should have canceled. They should have canceled that. I understand that they are pandering to a different base, a base that doesn't give a shit about America's kids, a base that likes to pretend like the fault lies within teachers or doorstops or, Ted Cruz focusing on back doors for some reason. Ted Cruz, what is your obsession with back doors? Stupid ass. Everything except for the obvious answer. And that obvious answer is that you don't need an assault weapon. Oh, why do they need it? Because they want to fight this tyrannical government. These black helicopters. They've been selling them that lie about, fighting a tyrannical government for decades. You know what? If there were going to be black copters descending on your property, try to take your shit or whatever, they would have done that. They would, and you know when they would have done that? They would have done that during Obama's presidency. That was your biggest threat. Nobody's trying to do that. Nobody's trying. Joe Biden isn't trying to do that. He might end up being the most progressive president that we've seen in a long time because of the policies that his administration has pursued. But he himself, personally, Joe Biden, he's not a progressive. Joe is a centrist. He's a centrist. You just listen to left-wing Twitter, Rose Twitter. They hate Joe Biden. He's a centrist corporate Democrat shill. Yeah, but they really should have cancel that NRA convention or move it somewhere else. You're going to have it that close to where these children were massacred. I don't get it. Philosophy says Trump sounds so stupid right now. By the way, you guys, I was already going to do a live this thing. I was already going to do a live stream, but Philosophy, aka Jonathan Slater, very good young man, reached out to me in the DMs, and he was like, "Hey BDD, can we do a live stream? I could really use one." So he actually did push me. I was totally already going to do this, but he did give me that extra push, and I was like, God damn it, man. Yes, I will. And thus here I am. I had a great time talking to Rosanna Arquette the other day. I thought she was just fantastic. She's a wonderful, very genuine person. Really just very much at ease with herself and at ease talking to me. And I thought the fun was the fun that I had during the guessing game. She was enjoying herself. It was just a thrill to watch her like really try to get these to guess correctly for this stupid game that has no prizes. It's not like, the winner of this guessing game will have $5,000 donated to charity of their choosing. That was nothing. It's just bragging rights, maybe. She did very well. She got them all right. So she has matched our friend John Fugelsang. So very, very nice lady. And the individual that I know I told you guys before that I was working on a very big interview. So that one is kind of on pause, and it's frustrating too. It's frustrating trying to nail these people down, because for the most part, I'm chasing people through DMs. And DMs, as you know, if you've tried to reach me in DMs, it's luck. Like Philosophy, aka Jonathan Slater, when you reach me by DM, it's luck, dude. Because people's DMs, they go down. When I get new DMs, the older ones get pushed down. That's how it is. Plain Gretzky says, me? So yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that interview with Rosanna Arquette. So we'll see if I can follow that up with the interview that I've been really, really, hankering to do. I am going to make a phone call in a few minutes to the individual who is going to help make that big one happen. If I do get it approved and confirmed, you guys will know as soon as I do. Kimberly Moss, how about an interview with Stephanie Miller? It's not going to happen. I've tried. I can't not get her to reply to my email. So, oh well. She's a fantastic interviewer. I don't know how good she is at being interviewed. I guess I will never know. But yeah. So, guys, that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions for me to answer before I begin to partake in my Friday night pizza and movie? I believe what we are going to watch tonight is Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's a new series out on Disney Plus that focuses on the life of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I'm looking forward to watching that and eating some delicious pizza and buffalo wings. Philosophy wants to know, what do you think of Beto going beyond Texas Gov? I think he's got to get that Texas governor thing first, because he did run for president before that did not fare well. Didn't fare well. So let's see him get this under his belt, some executive experience, and then president. I think he's got a good personality. But let's see him get some things done before we go ahead and push him. And I would say the same thing about Stacey Abrams, too. I want her to win her election for governor first before we start talking presidential aspirations. Any plans for Memorial Weekend? I think Wifey and I are going to wrap up the painting of our cabinets in the kitchen. We've been slowly painting our kitchen cabinets, and I think we'll be hopefully done this weekend. We're making them white. Will I do a late night tomorrow? Trump Reaper wants to know. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Because, this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. It means a 3-day weekend for some of you, a 4-day weekend for some of you lucky folks. Let's see. Plain Gretzky wants to know, how many ducks in a trench coat does it take to legally buy beer? I believe that would depend on the size of the duck. Yeah, the size of the ducks that are stacked up on top of each other. Let's see, if you have a duck that is approximately 2 feet tall, that's a massive duck, and it's probably not a duck, it's probably a swan or goose, whatever. In which case you would need 3. If it's only 1 foot tall, then you need minimum of 6 ducks. Charles Cobb wants to know, do you think that the police did not rush in because it was brown kids? No, absolutely not. I think that community itself is that whole entire community. Uvalde is predominantly Hispanic. I think the people in that community all know each other, as we've heard for the past few days. It's a small community. Everybody knows everybody. So I feel like the cops that were outside knew kids in there, didn't want them to die, but also didn't want to die themselves either. And as such, I think it's a very valid point to make that if cops if they're afraid of rushing into a building where there is a live shooter, an active shooter with an AR-15 or an AK-47, I would think that cops should be first in line demanding that we get assault weapons off the street. Makes perfect sense, right? Right? Part of your job is to go after these psychopaths. First of all, take away the weapons that make your job more difficult. Take away their means of acquiring those weapons of war. First of all, if you outlawed them, people say, well, if they outlaw them, they're going to still find a way to get them. Maybe. But if you create a penalty for people who sell them, and that the gun used in a certain attack can be traced back to an individual, then that individual can go to jail, and therefore they might not be so willing to circumvent the law and sell it. So, there are ways to make this shit work. Look, Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand made it work. And sure, New Zealand is a much smaller place and it's a very different place, but it's still very possible to make that work. Where there's a will, there's a way. And right now, the will of the people, the will of the people. I've seen this before. It seems somewhat sustained right now. Oh, I like this comment from Nikki. I'm not sure if Nikki, is that you, Scribble My Dibbles, or what? Because that used to be Scribble My Dibbles' nickname. She says, sure, but that's not a reason to not try. There is no reason to not try. Yeah. Oh, Nicole Warren. Hi, Nicole. So Nicole, that's the same name that my sister has. Scribble My Dibbles. Alaska Cindy says, thank you, BDD. This was much needed. Helped keep me from stroking out. Pressure valve release. I'm glad to help release the pressure valve. Sandra from Paramount is pointing out that Australia did it too. Yeah, I think they did it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they do it before New Zealand? There's got to be, there's so many different things that we can do as a country to make it work. There's a lot of different things. And the excuses that keep getting put up there about the Second Amendment and it's not going to prevent this thing. Those are just excuses meant to give shade and cover to the NRA and other groups like the NRA. You know what? I think the NRA should be designated a terrorist organization. They absolutely should. They spend money. On politicians, and they use their influence with these politicians to keep them in line and to keep these politicians, to keep them from passing legislation that will protect the rest of us. Nikki says, include the Republican Party as well. I feel like I have in a certain tweet. I don't think I can put that on the whole entire Republican Party. I feel like there's got to be some sensible, moderate Republicans. I just heard earlier today that Mitch McConnell says that he's got people working with Democrats to see if they can pass something. It better not be some just empty measure. If they're going to pass something, make it significant. It should make a difference. We'll see. I don't think the Republicans can survive if we can maintain this level of outrage between now and November. Whether or not we can actually maintain this level of outrage, I know I can. I absolutely can. If you look at my profile, it says perpetually pissed. And I am perpetually pissed because the Republican bullshit is the reason to always be pissed. The bullshit of them trying to end women's choice, to regulate the uterus. Their bullshit where they're even trying to regulate. If you let them get away with that, the next thing they will do is contraception. They will focus on gay marriage. They will focus on interracial marriage. They will. Don't tell me that they won't. They will. You know it. Voting rights. If they win in November, I guarantee you there will be at least one and possibly two impeachment trials of Joe Biden. Mark my words. I hope we never get to see it. I hope we win in November because failure is not an option. There's so much at stake. So much at stake. And you guys need to remind your friends and relatives and neighbors and coworkers of this fact. This is not a drill. And it's unfortunate. It seems that every it seems like every election we've seen in the past 6 years, right? It's 22. Yeah. Every election we've seen in the past 60 years, it feels like, oh my God, this is the most important election. Oh no, wait, back in 2016 when Trump was running, that was the most important. And then 2018, that was the most important. And 2018, it was a big wave that swept through and we won, I think, 40 House seats. And then 2020 was the next biggest election. Now we had another big election, but it's not hyperbole. It's not hyperbole. If you pay attention to the news, you know what's at stake. You know that Rick Scott wants to end Social Security and Medicare. I don't have to make anything up. They're providing reasons to vote against them. They're providing it. Oh no. How are you guys? Wait, that damn Alaskan says, God, Trump is reading the names of the victims. First of all, Cindy, you need to throw a comma in there because it looks like you're writing God Trump. You want God, comma, Trump is reading the names of the victims, question mark. How are you guys watching me and Spanky McDumbass at the same time? Should I feel insulted? Huh? I can't even keep your attention. You're watching Spanky McDumbass. Trump Reaper says she has to relearn French to move to Canada, or as I like to call it sometimes, Canada. He's praising the police. Of course he is. Okay, Melissa McQueen wants to know what is the movie. The movie. So it's not really a movie; it's a show. Obi-Wan. We're going to be watching Obi-Wan, but also I just started watching this show Hacks on HBO. It's fun. It's really fun. I like it so much. It's this middle-aged woman. She's a stand-up comedian. She's a filthy rich millionaire. She ends up having to work with a comedy writer, a millennial who's a comedy writer. Nothing against millennials, but a lot of them, they tend to be kind of snarky and up their own ass, so to speak. I swear to God that they're the smartest people in the room. So these two completely different people end up having to work together and they hate each other. So it's fun. I like it. We might end up watching that new Sonic movie. Probably wifey is not going to, she's not going to be into that, but because she doesn't like the cartoon stuff. But, for lack of a better movie, if I'm going to watch a movie, that's probably going to be it. Oh, yes. Our rest in peace, Ray Liotta. Liotta? I don't know how to pronounce it, but rest in peace to that guy. He was a great actor. And okay, you guys, I believe that's it. Right now, this is just filler talk. So thank you for joining me for this impromptu episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. You know the deal. If you haven't gotten your shot yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and get your shot. Wear your mask. Keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And have a lovely, relaxing evening and a happy Memorial Day weekend. So the next time I will see you guys officially is Wednesday. I don't even know who I'm interviewing yet. I'm still trying to nail that interview down. So I will see you Wednesday, same time, same place. I love you all. Peace. As Watcher Soko is reminding us, don't forget to like before you leave. Also, boom. Hey. Melissa, wait. Cindy says it's so quiet. Oh, let me see. Let me turn up the music. Okay, how's that? Is that better? Lee Saunders says we can hear. Good job, Nikki. Thank you for hitting that like button. Plain Gretzky says, damn it, I thought you said lick button. His phone's all spitty now. Oh, Cindy C can barely hear the music of the lawnmower running outside. I can't do anything about that. Cannot do anything. And some advice from Plain Gretzky. Remember, packing peanuts and alcohol are both good to fill the voids in your life. I would not take that advice. Strawberry shortcake tonight from Sandra from Paramount, California. Now I want strawberry shortcake. Yeah. Well, all right, guys. Thank you again for joining me, but you know what time it is. You need to leave.